People, this is DeRoy Cruz, your Life Applications Officer, and I'm going to do this quick video. If I get cut off, please be advised there's going to be a part two. It's hard for me to talk about this. I didn't write anything down and take any notes, and I need to do that because if I don't, everything I thought about, I lose it. I have to write it down. But I just did another Colin Flaherty video, and I've been watching this woman lately on YouTube. Her channel's called Red Ice, and her argument is she's now flipping. I don't know if it's safe to say that because that makes me sound like I don't agree with her. I agree with her on a lot of things. I'm trying to understand her taking blacks or any other race serious that is honest about their hostility towards whites. And I don't really even know where to begin because let me get right into it. I'm DeRoy Cruz, your Life Applications Officer. I do believe that it's okay for white people to be white. Let me just say what I believe. And maybe in a part two of this, I'll get into some details. But let me just say what I believe about this whole diversity thing, multiculturalism. I'm kind of, I find it kind of ironic, even though I don't see anything wrong with whites wanting to preserve white culture. Okay? You know what I'm saying? I don't see nothing wrong with that. I can understand. But let me say what I believe. I do believe that there are cultures of white people out there. There are groups of white people out there who, this woman from Red Ice, she talks about white culture. At one point, she talks like she's a victim of multiculturalism. She's a victim of black hostility. She sounds like a lot like Colin Flaherty. And she says a lot of the same stuff, about, you know, uh, and she says some of the same stuff that I say too. Like, why are black folks? I just did a video on white supremacy, and I asked the same question: why is everybody racist, but only it's noted when you're racist to a black person, or why are white people considered the majority when they're becoming more and more the minority? She says some of the same stuff that I say. What bothers me about her, I agree with her, just like I agree with Colin Flaherty on a lot of things. But what I don't agree with is I don't agree that anybody, if you let's go to Colin Flaherty for example. If you want to address crime and not cover up how it really happened, Okay, that's fine. But to act like it needs to be addressed because it's black crime, um, you just hung yourself. You just condemned yourself. You need to address crime because it's crime, not because it's white or black. Okay? You need to address it because it's crime. Okay? Um, Colin, instead of saying we need to put Colin Flaherty's videos can be summed up into one thing. We need to um, punish crime, regardless of the nationality or race, ethnicity, or whatever of the people that are committing the crime. Okay? We need to make everybody get the same, uh, what do you call it? Degrees and diplomas and certificates and stuff. Nobody gets, a free ride because they're a certain race or they're considered a minority or anything like that. I agree. But I don't agree that, you know, what I'm starting to see, and I know that black people have put this on themselves because up until just recently there wasn't all these subgroups, I call them, these subcode groups that are, they sound like they're a softer side of the KKK, or they sound like they're agents for David Duke or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, and this woman, Red Ice, she's like going after everybody that ain't white. If she listened to herself, she's going after everybody that's not white. She's going after Jews. She's going after blacks. She's going after Arabs. She's going after Spanish. You know what I'm saying? She's saying, she sounds like a black person because she's saying that, oh, everybody is racist towards whites. And that's not the truth. Asians are not racist towards whites. Asians hate blacks probably more than whites do, depending on what area you're in. Okay? Um, but they don't hate whites. Okay? You know what I'm saying? You starting to sound like these you know what I'm saying, these idiot blacks that I listen to, that I can't digest what they say. Like some of these Black Lives Matter activists, I can't digest it. I mean, it's just stupid. Okay, you don't know what you're talking about. And here's a guy coming from an area I keep saying in every video I do on diversity and race and mixing and all this stuff. I say this all the time. I come from a culture where, my culture was very diverse. Way back in the late 70s, early 80s, my culture was very diverse. But then as you go and you have to leave, when a neighborhood starts to lose money and you have to leave and move into a new ghetto and, actual ghetto, or I should say, then you see a totally different culture. And it doesn't really matter the color of the people. When I lived in McKeesport, Pennsylvania, back in the early 80s, late 70s, it was very diverse. Spanish, whites, Hawaiians, um, Asians, you know. I didn't know who was who until I got older. Um, but we had a lot of peace amongst us as young folks. I was just young back then, and I went through racism. And if you listen to Colin Flaherty, you would never think you would, if you listen to some people talk, there is no respect for the other side of Black America. There's no respect because of the low class people like Colin and Miss Red Ice and some of these other people that are standing up against multiculturalism, so to speak, or whatever it is they're standing up to. I'm still trying to figure that out. Um, Whatever it is they're standing up to, they seem to understand there's a big separation between one black culture to another. Okay. Um, and, just like these black kids that end up on the Colin Flaherty channel because they always think that white folks ain't good for nothing but beating them up. Or, white kids, I should say, ain't good for nothing but beating them up or because they can't fight or whatever. Okay, I've been places where, and I've been through this, I've been through when I was a kid, and I'm still going through it now. But this ain't going to show up on the Colin Flaherty channel. This is not going to show up on Red Ice. But it's no different. White people will look down their nose at me. Okay, and let me know that they look down their nose at me. Whereas these black kids that are swagging their pants and dress like bums and can't hold down a job, can't take care of their kids, can't support their woman. You know what I'm saying? They're on the street, they're in and out of prison and all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? You know they treat them with more respect. Even though they're going to get on the Colin Flaherty channel and talk dirty about them, to their face, they treat them with more respect. And they treat guys like me like we're the problem. Like, you know, like, and let me tell you something else. And I'm getting ready to put this on, too, because I only got so many minutes on this. I don't have a full phone battery here. But let me say this, too. I don't believe in this IQ nonsense. Now, I could look it up and do some study and get into science, which this is where science is getting crazy. And a lot of people rebelled against Darwinism, so to speak. What he originally said. But now people are claiming to study sciences that prove why black people act the way they do and why they aren't excelling in high school and going to college and growing up with these nice careers and getting the White House in the with the picket fence and all like that. But you know you know and they're saying, oh, it's because white people have a high IQ and black people got a low IQ and Asians have a higher IQ. But and I really don't believe in that. I really don't. And a lot of people will say, man, are you crazy? You have no choice but to believe it. No, I don't believe that. You know what I'm saying? First of all, it's never been my desire. I mean, I don't really believe that you can talk about IQ until you're sitting down with a pencil and a piece of paper and trying to figure out difficult problems. I mean, some of the worst of us have high IQs. I believe a lot of drug dealers have high IQs. If you can rip people off and hide that from the police and the FBI for years, in my opinion, you must have had a high IQ. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't believe that the problem with black Americans is that they have low IQs. Okay? And I'd also believe that this girl from Red Ice is leaving out a little bit of history. She's leaving out some of the history of the Arabs. Because the Arabs have built a lot of things. The Spanish have built a lot of things. And they have done things that were miraculous and very beautiful. And that it's not just white people that have done everything. But, white people have been able to, uh, you know, um, pay other people, from going all the way back to slavery. Not that I want to go there, but going all the way back to slavery to this modern day time. White folks get people to do jobs, okay, that they'll never have to do. And when I say white folks, I'm not talking about white people just like right off the wall. I'm talking about white people, big businesses, the culture of America that supposedly took this land from the Indians, if that's what they did. These people still practice, in the workforce, still practice a, softer side of slavery. When you have all these people, all these wealthy people, having all these people of color working for them, and they can't get people of the same color as them to work for them, um, you know, and they're okay with that, they're, what I'm saying, and you know, I mean, even some white people, ain't helping black folks when they give black folks jobs and they don't have to step up and catch up to everybody else. I mean, I agree. I mean, you're not helping black folks like that. You need, there was a day and a time, and I know people on my way up, coming up, who always was trying to catch up. They let everybody know, I'm trying to catch up. Okay, catch up to who? When he gets up there, then black folks want to hate him. Okay, and I don't know what knucklehead said that education was pro-white and said that being able to hold down good jobs and be a supervisor, a boss, or anything like that, being in a position of leadership was a white thing. But I believe that diversity is fine. And you need to put yourself in my shoes for a minute. I didn't wake up and say, oh, I have a low IQ. And, neither did I wake up and say, oh, white folks can't teach me nothing. If black folks can't teach me, ain't nobody going to teach me. I never had that attitude. And you ask my white friends, when it comes to, depending on what I'm asking questions about, I'm always going to go to a white person for the answer. Okay? And it ain't because black folks got low IQs. It's because black folks don't invest themselves in these things. And this red ice woman, cold ice woman, this red ice woman, she, cold ice, this red ice woman, it's like, oh, come on, we got to be honest about IQs. I think my IQ is fine. And if I wasn't so lazy when I was younger, okay, you would think my IQ's even bigger. And if I wasn't so old and so tired and worn out, I would even go back to school. Okay? It ain't got nothing to do with no IQ or no low or high IQ. It's got to do the problem in the black community. First of all, is that so-called black communities even exist. That's the first problem. But the problem with black America is not an IQ problem. It's more spiritual than that. It's more about programming and conditioning and upbringing and post-traumatic slave syndrome, which I've never had it. And once I accepted Jesus Christ as my Lord and Savior, there was no reason for me to ever even fear it or for any reason for it to come near me. And the truth of Christian history, I don't know about Muslim history. I don't know about voodoo history. I don't know about, Amish history. But Christian history, the truth about Christian history is, there is no separation in the church between different diversities or races. Paul and Peter crushed that state of situation a long time ago. Okay? As Christians, we don't worry about our race as much as we worry about who our God is and where we stand with our God. We don't worry about our race. And when white people find a reason to talk about high IQs, claiming that they have higher IQs than blacks, that is your answer. That's just as bad as blacks having hostility towards whites and saying, whites are always picking on blacks, the whole Colin Flaherty thing. And that explains everything. Well, to sit there and say, oh, it's because we have the highest IQ. Okay, well, how come? Well, if you have the highest IQ, how come how come there's more Arab doctors and more Arabs and Asians involved in technology and sciences? I mean, I work with University of Pittsburgh. Okay, I got University of Pittsburgh students that won't be, of other races that don't celebrate Christmas, that will be at my hospital doing research while everybody's out with their families for Christmas. Because they don't celebrate Christmas. They don't mind coming to work and, bringing up their grades and, getting paid on Christmas and getting ready for that scholarship, getting ready to get all those credits. Okay? And if you go in there, there may be a couple white people, but the majority of the people that are doing the research to come up with a cure for cancer are Arabs and Asians. Okay? A lot of our science and a lot of our architecture and that comes to us from the other sides of the rivers. Everything's not American. Everything's not European. And according to this woman, Miss Red Ice, everything is European. And we're all just hating on them. And that explains everything. This is like the flip of Colin Flaherty. It's the flip. No, that does not explain everything. But I'm going to close here because I know my time is short and I got to put this thing back on the charger. But I'm going to do a part two of this. Let me just say this. I love everybody. I love white people for who they are. I love black people for who they try to be. This is a group of people that, let's not forget. And even though I'm totally against Black Lives Matter, I'm totally against the frickin' lady out here, you know, giving out parking tickets, who always got a sermon to preach about, you know, what's wrong with blacks every day. Okay, look, I love white people. I love white people the way they are. Never felt that they needed to change for me. What I don't love is when you say you're not a racist, but yet you feel you need to make a distinction based on color, based on something that instead of judging me for it, you can help me with that. See, when I was coming up in school, my white teachers helped me in school. And I helped other white kids in school that were on my grade level and my, you know, on my curriculum level. Okay? Whatever class I was in, I was able to not only help other black kids, but I was able to help other white kids that were struggling with their homework and you know, having trouble getting an A. How that makes me have a low IQ, I have no idea. Okay? You know, I guess people like Benjamin Carson, where there'll never ever be a white man on this planet like Benjamin Carson. But I guess people like Benjamin Carson, I guess he got a little bit too much white DNA in him. That's why he's so smart. That's why he then went from being the most popular black man in history when it comes to medicine all the way to the White House. Okay? You know, I think we need to stop looking for excuses to hate each other, because that's all this IQ nonsense is about. We need to quit trying to make ourselves better than us, because you can't sit there and say that I'm incapable of being like you or doing what you do, or I'm incapable of a positive culture, but then turn around and tell me that I hate you, but yet you tell me that I'm not capable. No, I think you're hating Miss Red Ice. Okay? And when you say stuff like, when you talk about segregation, and you talk about you're being over, you know, when you talk about multiculturalism, and you know what I'm saying, hold up. You're the reason why the government and the media and all like that tries to hide and condone stuff, because they're afraid of people like you who will sit out there and come straight out with it and say the opposite, the total flip. Oh, well, you know, black people have a lower IQ, which explains why they act like they do and why they are not excelling, and that explains everything. And I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. Not just because I have shoes to wear that you don't have to walk in, but because I'm a prime example that that's a lie. And I can show you 100,000 other blacks that have not bowed the knee to Baal that show you that that's a lie. Okay? A lot of science today, especially some of this new stuff that's separating races and pulling us apart instead of bringing us together. It's a lie. And the people that would rather believe and feel instead of know for sure, It's easy to accept some nonsense like that. This is where black folks get racist at. This is where they get hostility at, Miss Red Ice. When you sit there and you say, "Oh, we're better than you," and that explains everything. Okay, so I love white people. Most of my friends are white. My pastor's white. My boss is white. Okay, um, and I don't have a problem with white people being in charge. Okay, you know what I'm saying? If that's what it takes to keep the bridge from sinking while I'm driving on it, hey, leave these white people alone. Let them do their thing. I don't care if they're in charge. I don't care if they're in the driver's seat. That doesn't bother me. What bothers me, though, is when you say the very thing that shouldn't be said. I can deal with Colin Flaherty, okay, pointing out the fact that blacks commit more crimes than whites. But Miss Red Ice saying that, oh, whites did everything and none of these brown skin races did squat. I don't think that's really true. And then she wants to even attack the Jews with their white looking selves. Okay, and now that brings me to the question: what group of white people are you talking about? You got white Republicans. Okay, you have these racist groups like these KKK people. You have you have people living in white ghettos. We got some of them in Pittsburgh. You got people living in white ghettos, acting just as ghetto as any ghetto of any race. But yet, you know, don't cross that line. Don't go into that town. So, what about all those white people, Miss Red Ice? What about those people? Are what's wrong? They got too much black DNA in them. That's why they so racist. That's why they so openly racist. They got signs right there in their town, saying no N word allowed. Huh? Where's their IQ at? And they ain't working in the hospitals. They're not working. They didn't go to college. You know what I'm saying? Obviously. But they're white. They're just as white or whiter than you are. Obviously, they don't have a very high IQ. And it only takes one black man to prove you wrong. And it only takes one white person to prove you wrong. Because if it was about IQ, there would be no white people homeless on the street. There would be no white people looking for a job. Especially the same jobs that black folks are doing. Okay? And you got these people that are just waiting for these white people even that are just waiting for the economy to collapse so that they can rape and pillage and do everything that their brown skinned neighbors across the river are doing. They can't wait. Okay? Go to them Trump rallies, okay, and tell me about some more IQ nonsense, Miss Red Ice. Okay? Because there were Trump supporters that were idiots, but there were even more Democrats that were super bigger idiots. Okay? But, anyway, I'm closing. I'll do a part 2 of this. Thanks for watching. I'm DeRoy Cruz, your Life Applications Officer. Faith, hope, and joy and peace in the Holy Spirit. In Jesus' name. Talk to you later. Thanks for watching.